What's up guys, Shane here from Fugatech 3D Printing, and today I'm going to review the Fysetc Prusa Mini Clone 3D printer. Welcome back guys. So this is the Fysetc Prusa Mini Clone that I personally bought in the November 11/11 Aliexpress sale of 2020. It is now April at the time of this recording, so I've had this machine for about 4 months because it takes about 2 months to get to me. The 11/11 sale, actually a lot of people had a lot of delays this year. I think it was like Aliexpress's biggest sale they've ever had and yeah, things took a while to ship out from the various vendors. This was no change. That normally for me, Aliexpress like 30 days. This ended up being like nearly 60 days, but I was okay with waiting. And funny enough, I bought 2 of these by mistake and recently just gave one away at my last live stream that I'm streamed at this house. And yeah, so hopefully someone will be happy with that because I have a lot to say about this machine, both good and there's a few bad things about it, but we'll get into that. Now again, this is a Prusa Mini clone, so it is near exact to what actually comes out of Prusa. You can get this right now for $250. You can buy the one from Prusa for, it's like $400 or $450, something like that. Now there are some differences, and there's similarities as well, I guess. So similarities, again, it's the exact same printer. It is a 180 by 180 by 180 on the Z build volume. It is using a manual power supply. It is using the same buddy board that Prusa's using. It's using Prusa firmware. So whenever Prusa puts out a new version, you can load it right onto here, no problem whatsoever. Obviously parts are not the same, so let's kind of go through that. But this again, I got this for $220 on sale. $250 is still nearly half the price of buying it from Prusa, or 2/3 the price than buying it from Prusa. And you get this in, nowadays you can get this in like less than a month, especially in the US, you know, you're getting this maybe 2 weeks tops right now. I canceled my Prusa Mini order from Prusa after nearly, what was it, like 70 or 80 days had gone by. It still did not ship. So I canceled the order because I'm getting ready to move, and I don't want a brand new printer to show up right before I move because that would just take the wife off. And that's not something I need to take care of, and I didn't want to delay the content. So I canceled the order, and then there was a mix-up. They didn't actually cancel it, so it shipped, but they stopped it. But that was like a month after I canceled my order. They still shipped it. It was an issue for them. They solved it. I've got no salt against them for that. But it's just the fact of the matter is that you're waiting, you know, 12 plus weeks for a printer to ship from Prusa, where you can buy 2 of these and get them within a month probably and come out on top because you're still spending less money, or just about the same money for 2 of them. So it's kind of funny how that works right now, but I really did enjoy this kit. Now, a few things about it. Number one, it does not come with any 3D printed parts. So all these here, I had to print on my own. I used Zyltech PETG Orange Soda and Zyltech PETG Black for all the parts. They do give you some print settings that you can, when you do print it yourself, can go off those recommendations. High infill for these 2 bottom frame parts. Same thing with the actual case. Those 3 parts really give the frame its rigidity. And if you don't print those with a high wall count, decent infill, and a high top and bottom layer count, you're going to have some flexing in there. So that is a problem. Replacing this bottom case with a metal case would be better in the long run because that is literally the part that holds the Z and the bottom gantry together. So you really do need that. So the Y gantry, I should say. Really, that's what holds those 2 pieces together. So I did this build on live stream. I think it took me 2 nights to end up doing it. I can't really remember right now. But either way, it was like a 5 to 6 hour or 4 to 5 hour build, I would say. I was doing it live stream, so it did take a little bit longer. I also fought with the PTFE coupler off of the extruder because I used the Prusa part and they use a custom PTFE push fitting, where the one off the shelf, like a M6 one, or I think this is an M5 or an M6, either way, it didn't fit in the Prusa part because I used the wrong part. I should have printed the Fysetc part that they told me to print, but I don't really read directions, so I had to fight with that for about 20 minutes before I finally got it to bite in there and fit. So it's in there, it's real tight though. But yeah, print the right part if you're going to do this. So, but aside from that, a fairly not bad build. Definitely user first friendly. Again, you can go right off of they have their own build guide, but also Prusa, now that they offer a DIY kit, you can follow their guide as well. It's exactly the same. There's really no differences. I replaced the blue PTFE that came in this. You saw in my live stream with an orange piece that came in a Profi box that I was working on. And I am a little upset it comes with a pink silicone sock, but it is what it is. I like using silicone socks. It helps insulate the heater cartridge better, and if you do have a messed up print, it kind of can save your heater cartridge from getting super gummed up, as that heater cartridge will keep a lot of that buildup off of there. So that's why I really like to use silicone socks. But the printer itself, I mean, is great. It uses a 5015 fan. This part cooling fan on the hot end works out just fine. I have heard issues from people with original Prusas that have had issues. I've not had any yet. I only have maybe 300 hours of printing on this so far. I have a few test prints here, but I printed all of Optimus Prime, I think all of it, except for the LCD case on this printer, and they came out great. So really no issues with that. Printing PETG or PLA, it all works out well. The Fysetc Flex build plate, the texture on here is a little bit more textured than what you would get from a Prusa build plate, so you're gonna have a much more, again, it's just a larger pattern that will be in your print versus what Prusa has. If that bugs you, you can buy a sheet from Prusa, or you can buy a smooth PEI sheet on Aliexpress as well. But this one comes with a textured sheet. I really like it. It sticks to PETG well, sticks to PLA well. They all pop off just as easy. It's really easy to work with it. And with the Pinda probe on here, again, I have no issues with that. I don't have the weird Super Pinda things or reason why they went to a Super Pinda. I don't know. I don't have any of those issues with this machine that I've noticed yet. Maybe I'm lucky. Maybe I just haven't used it enough to notice that, but either way, there's no issues with it at all for me. This kit also does come with the filament sensor, which the Prusa kit does not. You have to pay an extra, I think it's $20 or $30 for the filament sensor. I mean, it's a limit switch, a wire, and a lever with a magnet. Like it's the same thing as basically what's in the Mark III's. The same type, it's just in a little separate piece here. I think that's a gross overprice for the part. I think this should be $5 or $10 maybe to add on. I get this Prusa, I get you're paying for the name, but like, come on, man, like that's pretty dumb. It comes with this price. I did add a few add-ons to this. I added on the handle, which makes it really easy to pick this up. It is a pretty light printer. I mean, it's maybe only like, it's probably less than 10 pounds or right around 10 pounds. A little bit odd to hold just because it's the weight of it is. But it is easy enough to grab that and move it. I have a Z-brace on here. I didn't have any issues, but just to prevent them, I went ahead and added that after the first few prints, just because I saw people were adding that on. Also, I added on these two little cable holders that go right onto the NEMA 17 motors, and these are just kind of strain reliefs. This one just keeps the cable, I have it zipped on there, so it gives it a nice bend still and it's not flopping around. And this top one just kind of keeps it into the channel for the Z. Again, just kind of keeping it out of the way so it doesn't become an issue later. I like those kind of simple and easy mods. These are all community mods that I found on PrusaPrinters.org. So, and they're used by many people. So I do like them. But yeah, again, I mean, it's basically the exact same thing, just from a different vendor. Now, it does print great. I'll show you some prints here in a minute, but there are some downsides. And the downsides are quality control. I have two issues with quality control on this machine in particular. I don't know if others have had any other issues, but for me, the first one being the U-bolts that hold the bed to the actual Y carriage. One of them was bent. They should be even. One was bent pretty far, and I tried bending it back on the stream. It wasn't bended enough to get it to work, but that was an issue. And actually, as I was cleaning up my office here, getting ready to move, I found an extra U-bolt in some of my spare parts for the Prusa kit. I was like, oh, well, I just popped the old one off, put that one on, and we're off to the races again. So quality control could be an issue when it comes to parts like that. Other thing is here, the bearings are not the best quality. Surprise, surprise. I did pack them with lithium grease, but most people who are buying this kit probably don't build as many printers as I do, and probably don't know to do that or just aren't going to do that. So that being said, I don't really know if that's going to be an issue for people, but I did pack mine. I do have them. grabbing every now and then. I can feel it. I haven't had a shifted layer with this printer yet, and I haven't seen any print defects that would tell me that the bearings are going bad. But with me moving the bearings and putting weight on it differently than the belt pulls it, I do have some of that stutter every now and then where some of the bearings are binding in there. I don't know if I just need to re-lube them again or just flat out replace them. Fysetc has a pretty good vendor for their LM8UU bearings, or maybe I could see about throwing some Aegis bearings on this and see how that goes. I don't know if anybody's done that yet. I'm sure someone has, but that's definitely an option for the X and Y on here, just to try and make that a little bit quieter and to make it run a little bit smoother. Speaking of quiet, it is a very quiet machine. It is definitely more quiet than the Mark III's. It has these nice little rubber feet, or I guess not rubber, they're like a neoprene type foam feet that go on the bottom here. Work out quite well. I don't really have any issues with loud noise or anything coming off of it, but you get a ton of features with this because it's using the Prusa firmware. You have the auto bed leveling, the compensation, the first layer settings, a plethora of settings within the machine, plus you have all the benefits of Prusa Slicer and all of the pre-configured Prusa Mini profiles that are in Prusa Slicer. So you get a lot of benefits with going with a machine like this than going with, say, an Ender 3. Let's talk about price real quick. I paid on 11/11 sale $220 for this printer, and then throw, say, another $20 for filament, if that, maybe $10 for filament to print everything out for it. And yeah, so we're talking $230 shipped. Meanwhile power supply, 3.2-inch screen, can't beat that. It is a genuine Meanwell power supply. I got it, checked the serial number versus the Meanwell warranty system. You can actually check your serial number on there, and it showed up to be legit. Maybe they're just making that good of clones, or it actually is a true Meanwell power supply, but if I was to take that and do a support ticket with Meanwell, they would honor that ticket because it is a valid serial code. So great news. 220 bucks, can't beat that. Right now, this kit, same exact that I got, is going for about $250 shipped. That's not bad. You can get an Ender 3 V2, I think costs more than that. They're like $280 or something like that. And this is more feature rich than what that is. If you're looking at this as a first printer, you're gonna need to find someone who can print the parts for you, because as of this recording, I have not found any vendors on Aliexpress that are selling the 3D printed parts for a Prusa Mini. You can find them for a Mark III's, and you can find them for a Bear, but you cannot find them, at least I could not, for a Prusa Mini. So you'll need a buddy to do it, or you're going to be able to print out some PETG on your own. I highly recommend PETG. Buddy of mine, Jim, on the Discord, he recommends polycarbonate or something harder for the actual electronics carriage, because again, that is really what shores up. That is your connection between the Z carriage and the Y carriage, is that controller box. So definitely want to make sure that is high infill, high walls, and high top and bottom layers to make that as stiff as possible. This extra Z brace does add a little bit more stability to it, but again, it has not been an issue for me. I'm pretty conservative in my print speeds, 60 to 80 millimeters a second, 100 if I'm feeling froggy, but generally speaking, don't really care how long a print takes, I care what it looks like. I mean, obviously I don't want a print to take like 800 hours printing at 0.1 millimeters, but printing at 0.2, 68 millimeters a second, most prints are done in a fair amount of time. So the one issue that I know about the Prusa, the actual Prusa version, is inserting and taking out frequently the USB drive. Now, this comes with the same USB drive. It looks exactly the same as what Prusa puts out there, so they could be the same manufacturer, who knows. But the issue of that going in and out of the buddy board is that eventually it will stop reading it, and the USB port goes bad on the buddy board. So to prevent that, what people have said to do is add a USB extension somewhere, and then plug your USB drive into that. So I've created a custom, I actually redid the entire LCD holder, added my own custom backplate to it, and I recreated this front plate to add a USB, kind of like one you would put actually in your computer, to be put in here. There's tons of different ones out there. I'll put mine down. 27 p.m. Thank you, didn't ask, but because I named her computer, she likes to talk to me. Anyways, I made this one for this version of cable I could find on Amazon easily enough. It is a right angled connector. You have to get the right side one, otherwise your cable will be going backwards. You have to get the right one. I'll make those links down below if you want them, or if you want to print out yourself. But again, this has not had any issues for me so far, and they say this is the way to get around that flaw. Don't know if that's been fixed yet in the actual board itself, Maybe it's just a Prusa issue. Maybe that's not a clone issue. I don't know. I guess I really didn't talk about instructions yet. The instructions from Fysetc, which is what I went by when I built this, were good. Now, since I've had built this, Prusa now has this as a DIY version. Unfortunately, you can only get it as like pre-built. It came in 2 parts, you put them together, it was done. 3 parts, I guess, with the LCD screen. But now it is a complete DIY version like the Mark III's is, and you have to build it yourself. It comes with printed parts. They have their own guide as well. You could follow that guide or the Fysetc guide. Either one would work. Just make sure you print out the proper parts. If you're using the Fysetc with a larger screen, you're going to need their version of the LCD screen, and you're going to need their version of the extruder coupler or the extruder main body, so that you can fit a standard PTFE fitting in there. The Prusa one is some weird fitting, so that's why it doesn't fit with the M6 that comes with this kit. One last thing about this printer, it's not about this one or the Prusa Mini, it's about both of them, is the size. The size of this printer is great. It's only about 14 inches wide, maybe 16, and 18 deep. It's a pretty small printer. But that's just a printer. You have to factor in your filament spool, which doubles the width of the printer because of how it's organized, or how it's oriented. The best place for this is off to the side or at an angle. You could do it straight back, but it might be a little bit weird. You might need to put a longer piece of PTFE between the filament sensor and the extruder body. You can do, but you know, you add in variation there. But either way, it's best to have it off the side or back at an angle 45 degrees from the extruder, and that adds a whole nother, you know what, 14-16 inches to the width of the printer. Now you could try and mount this up somewhere on the wall this way, or on the back somewhere here, above it even, something like that, and give yourself some slack. You could do that. You could also do reverse Bowden if you drill this out a little bit. But you should not absolutely mount it to this machine. Because this is a cantilever design, anything on here will make it sway so much more. Now my whole table sways, but if I was to pick this up, and you can see even there's a little bit of flex in the frame. Not much, but there's a little bit of flex there, even with the brace on there. Adding this giant counterweight, or this weight at the top, will really make that sway. With an i3, you can mount it on the side and really not have any problem. But with a cantilever design, you're gonna have issues with that. So I strongly recommend you do not mount the spool to this printer at all, because there is really nowhere else to do it on this 3030 frame. If you're not mounting it to the side here or right on top, you don't really have else to where to do it. And again, don't do it. You're going to introduce issues. And I did forget, this also does come with all the hardware for the filament spool holder. It's great. It slides very easily. It is for, I think it goes up to 100 or 90 millimeters, and so all the standard, you know, 50, 60 millimeter spools, all the way up to like the short fatties, all will work with the spool holder, and it's the same one that comes with the Prusa as well. Yeah, so I enjoyed the build. So far I'm loving the print quality. I might actually end up sending this one ahead of me to my next place when I move, just because I want to have a good functioning machine as soon as I arrive. I don't want to have to mess around with some other machines. So this might be one that I ship ahead, and then I have it and I can get to working on any new projects that I want to do. Let's show you guys some of the print quality now, and we'll kind of go through my various first prints. And again, I just did a few samples, and then I started in production right away on some of my other custom printers. So the first thing I printed is this Prusa bolt, nut and bolt. This is Prusa G-code straight off their website for the Prusa Mini. So I wanted to see how it works with their settings. I didn't do anything except load in some Jesse PLA black. It has sparkles in it, and it printed fantastic. It threads together exactly how it should. The tolerances were great on it. Again, zero issues with this model. Next, I printed the Benchy, again using Prusa's G-code, and it was very stringy. So clearly I needed to adjust the settings for this filament type on this printer, which is the first time I ever got stringing with this filament. So I'm guessing it was either too hot or retraction was off, but retraction seems to be pretty good on the haul, so I'm going to say it was a temperature issue. Next up was the sheep, again Prusa G-code straight off the website. No issues whatsoever with this sheep. It sliced perfectly, and bridging was good, no issues at all. And the last test print I did, this is again, so this actually, And the last test print I did is this lighthouse off of, I believe this was from Cults. And this is printed in the Uncle Jesse, his silver. It's like a gunmetal silver from Zyltech. And I love Zyltech filament, I use it all the time. Again, this thing is printed with Zyltech filament. And I wanted to try his filament out in there, and it came out great. A little bit stringy, so again, temperature, this thing seems to print a little bit hotter than what I think it should. So going down 5 degrees on this machine probably would end up doing better than what I normally print at. It could just be because of the heat. The heater might be a little more powerful than I'm used to. I don't know, but either way, this print, truly fantastic print came out. I mean, you can see all the details, and you do see those wisps. And again, I'm going to chalk that up to being the temperature and not retraction, because I'm not seeing any retraction issues or blobs or zits or under retractions anywhere on the print. So we're going to say it's temperature related. Other than that, yeah, it was a great machine. Again, I just gave one of these away. It was super fun to be able to do that at my expense, because I accidentally bought 2 of these because I'm an idiot. When you're up late, you're ordering, you want to get that sale price, and you hit buy and you don't realize there's an extra $220 in your cart. Yeah, that's a problem. But I have to thank all of you for watching, because you guys made it possible for me to buy this one and the extra one and all the other parts that I bought on that 11/11 sale, because you guys used the affiliate links down below. That was bought purely with affiliate links usage on Aliexpress, so I thank you guys for all of that. I also buy a ton of things on Amazon and the other vendors I have down below, and just being patrons and giving me a little bit. I use all that money to buy things, and the tips from live streams. Like, there's tons of ways that you guys give to me. I'm so grateful for it. I'm able to do so much more, buy machines like this, do custom builds. It's awesome that you guys help me out with that. But again, if you're looking for a 3D printer, a second one, or you have somebody that can help you print out some parts, 100%, this is an absolute buy. It was a super big win, and I'm honestly shocked with how good of quality that it has, aside from the bearings and that one U-bolt being bent. But that could have been as simple as fix, but I decided to fix them on my own, and it worked out well. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you pick this up, please use the affiliate link down below. I'll put a few different ones down there, but the main one that I use, and again, it was about $250 last I looked, is the Meanwhile version with a 3.2-inch display, shipping from the US. You should get it in like a week, which you really can't beat compared to Prusa's 12 or 16 week backlog of being able to ship out printers. So it kind of is what it is there. If you guys want to stay tuned what's going on, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that bell icon, and that way you get email notifications when I upload new content or do any live streams. If you want to support the channel, use affiliate links to buy this thing. There's some Patreon link down below. Become a patron, join the squad there. I do videos there. I also have a Patreon only section on the Discord. There's a link for Discord down there where you can hang out with us. Other ways you can give to me if you want. There's some affiliate links and some one-time donation links down there as well. Or hey, just watch some more of my videos. I greatly appreciate it. Check out the live stream. I'll link that down below as well. And when I built this machine, you could see me go through the trials and tribulations of trying to get the wrong size PTFE coupler into this body. It took like 20-25 minutes. It was horrible. So I thank you guys for watching so much. I'll see y'all next time. Happy printing.